the cause of millions of deaths of people every single year. We say it's suicide, but it's really just people that are depressed that are trying to find a way out of the suffering and took the easiest one they could think of. Depression is so common that it's the second leading cause of death, which used to be homicide, but that has changed a long time ago. In 2019, there were 47,000 suicides reported in the US alone, and 1.38 million suicide attempts, and people with depression are 20 times more likely to commit suicide. Before doing research for this video, I knew that depression and suicide was a big problem, but I didn't know that these numbers were so fucking high. Like, this is very concerning. And it kind of makes me sad to see that we don't learn anything about this in school, or that it's not often talked about, because talking to someone that is depressed or talking about depression can help a lot of people. And I think it could have saved so many lives if this was a more common topic and we brought more awareness to this. Let me start the video of saying that I'm okay, so if you were worried about me, there you go. But I wanted to talk about depression because I think it should be a topic that we talk about more often. And since school ain't doing it, we gonna do it right here. See, about 100 years ago, people didn't even know that depression existed. In the 20th century, about 1930-ish, people started getting diagnosed with depression. But does that mean that no one was depressed before that? There's a lot of things that doctors and scientists didn't know back then. I mean, keep in mind that doctors in the 1880s still prescribed cocaine to patients to help them out with pain. It was literally marketed as like a painkiller or something you use for general pains, like we have Advil and that kind of stuff today. They literally sold coke tablets for like 50 cents in like a box. Till after some time they realized that cocaine can affect the body in a very bad way, can make you addicted, and you can even die from overdosing of it. But obviously they didn't know any better before they find out that it was this serious. So yeah, of course depression was a thing before it was something that got diagnosed. They just didn't know it was depression. They would think it's another disease or that you're just sad and lazy. For example, lobotomy was a surgery that they did on the brain for people that are schizophrenic or severely depressed. They would literally remove a little part from the front of your brain, as I understand, and that would then supposedly make you happier. I read that the surgery got so popular that some people even started doing it just to feel happier, even though they were already like fine. Which, even though it sounds crazy, I can kind of see how that happens, because there's people that do cocaine and stuff at parties just to have more fun for one night, but I don't think about the long-term consequences of doing it. So what exactly is depression? Why do people get depressed, and why is finding a way out of it so hard that some people decide to take their own life? According to the American Psychiatric Association, that took me 7 tries, depression is a common and serious mental illness that negatively affects how you feel, the way you think, and the way you act. Fortunately, it's treatable. Depression causes feeling of sadness and or loss of interest in activities you once enjoyed. It can lead to a variety of emotional and physical problems and decrease your ability to function at work and at home. In order to get diagnosed with depression, there's like a list of like symptoms, and you need to have 5 or more of these symptoms over like a period of 2 weeks to be diagnosed with depression. These symptoms are feeling sad, anxious, and or empty, feeling hopeless, worthless, and pessimistic, crying a lot, feeling bothered, annoyed, or angry, loss of interest in hobbies, activities you used to enjoy, decreased energy or fatigue, moving or talking slower, sleeping problems, appetite or weight changes, and chronic pain with no clear cause, and it doesn't get better. And then the worst of all, there's thoughts of suicide, self-harm, or even suicide attempts. Keep in mind that you shouldn't use this to diagnose yourself, and if you think you are suffering from depression, you should see a health professional, because obviously I'm not one. There's more specific symptoms for children, teenagers, women, and men, and that are a little different. If you want to read about those, all the links of my sources I'll put in the description, and you can read them in more detail if you're interested. So what exactly is depression? So from the things that I've said from now, you can see why you wouldn't want to be depressed. So then the question comes, how do you prevent getting depressed? And the answer to that question is kind of fucked up in my opinion, because there isn't a way to completely prevent getting depressed. The reason why it's so hard to give concrete points how to prevent it is because it's different for everyone, and the causes of it can also differ for every single person. So there isn't like something like just eat better or something, or like work out more, that's gonna magically make you not able to get depressed. But if you have experienced a depressive episode before, you can better prepare yourself by seeing how you got depressed and what the triggers were, and maybe you can even have a health professional help you out with that. You can do this by learning how to change your lifestyle or stop doing certain things that triggered you to get a depressive episode. Now, as soon as you bring up the topic of psychologists and professional help and stuff, a lot of people are already not interested in doing that because they think going to a psychologist is for people that are crazy, people that you see like spazzing out on the street and shit. But the thing about it is, it's just someone to talk to that knows how to help you better than a person who didn't study to do that. And it's completely normal to do it. And that's coming from a guy that doesn't like talking about their feelings that much and tries to be happy all the time. But that's just not how it is. No one is happy all the time. And if you have someone that's professional and can help you get resources, then that can really help you out with your own well-being. Beating depression is not an easy thing to do, and it can take a long time. For some people, it might take some months. For some people, it can even take years to feel normal again. But when you do beat it, you suddenly feel so much more happy about your hobbies, the things that you enjoy doing, which you can finally enjoy again without feeling exhausted or too sad to do it. You will start to appreciate the family members and friends that were there for you in maybe even the darkest time of your life. Going from sleeping all day and being super tired, and then getting a text on your phone, pick up your phone, and then it's someone asking how you are, and you don't even know how to respond because you don't even know what you're feeling, and it's just too complicated to explain, and you're considering either writing a whole paragraph, and then you're too tired for that, so you might just say I'm okay and make it so that the person doesn't worry about you, or just completely ignore them because there's just too many thoughts going through your head. So how can you help a friend or a loved one that might be going through depression? Someone that's going through depression can be experiencing a bunch of difficult emotions: helplessness, frustration, anger, fear, guilt, sadness. All of those feelings are normal and everyone gets them. But when you're depressed, they feel like they're amplified and like they're way worse than normal, or maybe you feel a lot of them at the same time, which can be very confusing and very exhausting to deal with every day. But it's not easy to deal with a friend or family member that's depressed, because it can also get exhausting for you since you have to put in so much more effort than normally to communicate to this person. So remember that if you're trying to help someone that is going through depression, that you have to keep in mind of your own mental and physical health. Because if you are not okay because you're spending all of your time helping a person and not doing anything for yourself, and you don't feel good anymore, then it can get way harder to help this person. And if you're not good, and if you're not feeling 100% good, then you can't help them as much as you could if you did look out for your own health. So make sure to put your own health first. Even though it might feel weird because you want to give all your time to this person, make sure you are okay, because if you're not okay, you can't help them just as good. Your support can be very helpful for someone's recovery process from depression. You can help them deal with negative thoughts and just remind them of how important they are for you and how cool of a person they are. And make sure they don't forget that, because when you're depressed, it can feel like you're like in a room and all the lights are out and it's completely dark and you have no idea where the door is because it's not your room. The only thing you can see is your dark thoughts, and it's only you and your thoughts you're trying to get out, but you can't. That's why if someone says to someone that's depressed, like, just get over it, or just smile a little more, or just be happier, it's not that easy, because it's really hard to see that happy part come through that really dark room. You can help them think more optimistically and remind them how beautiful it is to live life as long as you can. You can start reading articles about depression to know how to better communicate with your friend for them to understand you better. And again, make sure to remind them that their presence in your life means a lot to you and everything they mean to you. Maybe even talk about some fun memory you guys had. These things can really poke a light through that really dark room sometimes, and that can help a person going through depression by a lot. And again, make sure that you are watching your own mental health while you do this, because as I've already said, but I'm saying it again because it's really important, if you're not okay, you can't help them as good as you would be able to if you are fine. You can recognize that your friend is depressed if you notice that he loses interest in all of his hobbies, seems way more pessimistic and sad, either sleeps super long or doesn't sleep at all, eats way more or way less, or abuses drugs and alcohol to try to suppress these feelings that they're feeling all day. Remember that you can't just fix a person that's depressed. Try to really listen to them when they do talk to you, and remind them that you're willing to listen to them. Usually having someone to talk about your feelings and these thoughts that go through your head all day can give a really good feeling to someone who doesn't know how to deal with their thoughts. You can remind them that having these thoughts are completely normal and that this won't last forever. And while you listen to them, make sure you're not judging them, because that only makes things worse. Usually depressed people withdraw from others and try to be alone a lot because they don't feel like they fit in with all the normal people who are just happy, and they don't want to be like a bother to other people. You might have to continuously remind them that you are willing to listen to them and talk to them if they need you, but make sure to be gentle and not overwhelm them, but also don't let them forget that you are there to talk and listen to them. And if they don't want to talk and listen, or they just want a hug or something like that, just remind them that you can always be there for them. People that are depressed for a long time can start considering suicide. If you think your friend or family member is considering suicide, then don't wait too long to talk to them. Only one conversation can already help someone feel better. A lot of people feel uncomfortable bringing up the topic of suicide because it's not a very usual thing to talk about, but it can really save someone's life. But it's one of the best things you can do for someone that's going through depression or thinking about harming themselves. So speak up and ask your friends if they're okay, and maybe even seek professional help if you really don't know what to do. I'm leaving a link in the description with some tips on how to talk to people who are going through depression, and even some depression hotlines and suicide prevention links. These links will be all the way at the bottom of the article. Before I end this video, I wanted to talk a little bit about my Patreon. Since I don't make any money with monetization yet, this is my only way of income from YouTube. Patreon is a website where you're able to support by contributing a small amount of money every single month, starting at $1. There's different tiers as you can see on screen right now, and for every tier you get some different benefits. If you subscribe to my Patreon, you can be like Adam. He listens to exclusive podcasts and interviews that you won't find on my YouTube channel here. Again, big thanks for your support, bro, but I'm not going to waste your time and read all of the benefits one by one, so you can click the first link in the description to find out more about my Patreon. If you watched till the end of the video, you should comment balls just so I know that you watched till the end. And thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Peace out.